there everybody, it's DiLisio, and today I'm going to be doing one of a series of videos where I'm covering all of the characters in Merchant's Cove. This includes the base game characters and the 3 expansion characters as well. I'm also going to talk a bit about the Secret Stash expansion. What I'm planning to do is give you a brief overview of how these characters play. Then afterwards I'll talk to you about what their level of complexity is ranked among all of the characters within the game, the main mechanisms that run those characters, and all of this is going to culminate in a video where I'm going to rank all of the Merchant's Cove characters in the order of my preference. So, without further ado, let's take a look at today's character. Alright, let's take a look at the Chronomancer and his assistant. This is a character where you're actually controlling 2 of the characters. Take a look at the components here. We've got our large and small goods of the different colors. We've got our sail shelf here. We have got our staff board here. Within this main player board, we've got the starting 2 tiles up here, portal tiles, and then randomly 2 other tiles here on the white side. All right, and essentially these tiles are the same from one side to the next, except on the white side here. Actually, white side here, it's more costly. All right, you have 2 corruption and a hourglass, and here you've got 1 corruption and hourglass. So you're going to be kind of manipulating these to get the cheaper actions out there. We also have 4 freeze time tokens here and our 2 characters. So let's take a look at these. I want to just point out that these have been painted by Wendy Yee, wife of Chris Yee, here at the studio. They do not come pre-painted in the box. I commissioned her to do these. They look really cool, so I figured I'd show them off to you here. All right, there's a little assistant for our Chronomancer. Now, just a quick overview on how this one works. This has a system where you've got some restricted movement. Both characters are going to be moving clockwise around the board, and the Chronomancer cannot move if he's blocked by the assistant. So on the first turn, the assistant has to move. The other thing to keep in mind is that the assistant can go as far as they want. They can go to any of these spaces. They're going to skip over that space because that is exclusive to the Chronomancer, but they cannot skip this freeze time space. They have to stop at that space. All right? Each of these tiles are going to tell you what you can get and how much it's going to cost. So for example, if I went to this first portal, it's going to cost me 2 time to do so. But then what I would do, I'll just pick this up to show it to you, is in this case, I would gain 1 of the small goods, either yellow or blue. All right. So if I did that, I'd spend the time and I could get perhaps a small yellow good on my table. Now, at this point, the Chronomancer is still stuck because he cannot go to that spot that's exclusive to the assistant here. Let's say that he instead went all the way over here to take this freeze time action. All right, so what the freeze time action is going to do, it costs 2 hours and only the assistant can do it. You remove any 2 of these freeze time tokens, let's say perhaps yellow and red, and that's going to give you temporary access to those sponsorships. Also, you can spend these tokens anytime you want, including the turn you get them, to reduce the time cost of an action throughout the game. So if I wanted to later on, something that cost me 2 time, if I wanted to make it no time, I can spend both of these. You can never go below that, of course. If you do, you would place them back onto these spots. All right? So then the Chronomancer could take their turn. Perhaps they went there. Let's say that they had taken these and they wanted to get a small green. They can do that. And if they didn't want to spend any time, normally that would be 2 time and a corruption, they can spend those and just take the corruption card, but it would not cost them any time. All right? The other spot to keep in mind is here. So you have freeze time here, and then you've got this spot right here, which is known as the shifting timelines action, and that's an action that only the Chronomancer can take. So what you're going to do is you're going to surge power to the time machine according to the side that he's at. So on this side, it's going to be this tile, and over here, it's going to be this tile. What you're going to do is you choose 1 portal fragment tile in the time stream, okay? And this is what's called the time stream down here. You choose 1, and then without flipping it, you slide it into the top row of the column nearest this time machine. So let's say I wanted to put this one there, all right? I put that there, slides in down, and then the one that was removed, I'm going to take it and flip it to the lower cost side and put it in the time stream. So by doing that, you're getting better cheaper, not better, but cheaper actions down here that are essentially going to help you do these actions with less of a cost. All right, and so that's what you're going to continue to do, moving these around, making sure that you follow the restrictions. Like, you can't jump over the assistant there. The assistant would have to go next, and they can take any one of these 3 spots or jump all the way to that freeze time, but they'd have to stop there and try to get your goods the same way. Well, you're not getting it the same way, but you are still trying to get goods like the other merchants in the game, all right? And the different actions are all going to be represented here: getting goods, getting some of the market actions there. You can also do recruiting townfolk, things along those lines like you normally would. All right, so let's take a look at the staff board. The rightmost action is the same on all of them, and that is simply removing a corruption you might have taken. But going from left to right, you can exchange one small good for any other small good, or you can exchange one small good for a large good of the same type. Or you can exchange one large good of any type for 2 small of that same type. All right, so this allows you to kind of manipulate the different goods that you have gained throughout the game to make them more applicable to the customers that you might have on the docks. All right, so that in a nutshell is the Chronomancer and his assistant. Let's head over and I'll tell you what I think about it. Okay, so there's the Chronomancer and his assistant, and this is a character, or characters, that I'm going to be rating a complexity level of 3. Just as a reminder, if you haven't seen any of the other videos in this series, I'm ranking them from a low complexity of 1 to a high complexity of 5, and that's only in relation to other characters within Merchant's Cove. The actual game itself is not terribly heavy of a game, a light to mid-weight game. But this character, within the range of them, I'm putting right in the middle there as a 3. This is using kind of a limited movement, almost a rondelle type of a feel, because you're moving clockwise around a series of spaces, and you can only move when the other character in front of you has moved, and you have to stop in particular places. That's really where any of the complexity comes. And then in the managing of the tiles, the portal tiles, flipping those in such a way that you're getting the types of goods that you want in the places that you want, getting it so that they're costing you less time, using those freeze time tokens in the best manner possible, being as efficient as you can in those. It ranks up there a little bit higher in the complexity, although I would not necessarily feel uncomfortable with recommending this as a first character for somebody in the game, but I would want to make sure that they knew that there's a little bit more going on. You're managing 2 characters instead of 1, and you have to kind of be aware of the limitations that you have in choosing your actions. That can feel a little bit constraining to particular players, and if that's something that they may not like, you might want to choose a different character for them. Or if they are particularly concerned about playing an asymmetric game like this, you maybe wouldn't want to start with this character in their first game. Maybe if they got a game or 2 under their belt with one of the lower complexity characters, they like the look and the theme, perhaps, of the Chronomancer with this kind of time travel-y type of a fun thing, then maybe give them a shot at it there afterwards. All right, well, there you have my thoughts on the Chronomancer. If you are interested, keep watching. I'm going to be covering all of the characters within the game, including the expansions, and then I'm going to culminate this all in a ranking of my favorite Merchant's Cove characters. That's it for me. This is Mike DiLisio, signing off from Dice Tower headquarters.